Michigan State gets absolutely embarrassed in a must-win game at home on homecoming, 38-13 in just unspeakable result, honestly. Like, I don't know what to say after that. This is initial reaction. It's like 30 minutes after the game. What are your thoughts, Liam, at this point? It's just unspeakable, just not okay, not acceptable whatsoever.
I mean, that's kind of my thoughts. I don't have any. I mean, that is the worst game I've ever watched. I didn't think it was possible to get worse than 2022 Minnesota. And you could still argue that maybe this wasn't just because 2022 team kind of had expectations from the team the year before that won a lot
Yeah.
of games. But I don't I was at the game for anyone listening. I was at the game. Haven't watched it back on TV at all. Like Zach said, this is 4 o'clock right after the game ended. I don't have anything. As you said, it was a complete embarrassment, and it's something that it's a game that while we were both very level headed on the show last week, saying it's year two, you got to give Jonathan Smith time. You're gonna have growing pains. I no longer will say anyone that wants him fired is speaking prematurely, and I'm not calling for his firing. But let's put it this way: I don't. It's not. It couldn't be a catastrophe after today.
Yeah, and I know I said last week it's too early to have that conversation. I don't necessarily know if it is
No, I
anymore,
agree.
to be honest with you.
It's
Like, we
not
can
too early.
fully have that conversation right now, but I was also going to ask you that question. And this is where I might go off a little bit because I was going to ask you the question of, like, where does this loss rank on MSU's kind of like worst loss? And I almost don't want to ask the question because we shouldn't be having this conversation. Like, it shouldn't be like, oh, which one's worse, Minnesota or this one? Like, this is just completely unacceptable. If you're Michigan State, you cannot not afford to have this happen to a UCLA team coming in here at 1-4 at homecoming at 9 o'clock on the West Coast. You cannot have the type of response that you did. And watching this game in person, you could see there was zero emotion from anyone.
Yeah,
And people want to talk about leadership at this point. These players are acting like Jonathan Smith. I don't want to completely say it's all on Jonathan Smith because you have to have players that execute. But when your leader is a non-emotional guy on the sideline, when someone makes a big play on the defensive side of the ball and you see no one celebrating whatsoever, that is a problem. That is a major problem. And MSU, when they were good, they not only had the emotion, they relied on that defense. That defense made big plays, and it wasn't solely just a defensive issue today. It's an offensive issue. It's an everything issue. It starts with Jonathan Smith. He's the CEO, and you see these guys have this zero emotion whatsoever in a game like this. Completely unacceptable, and I'm sure you probably agree with that as well. So I'll get off my soapbox.
no, you're good. Don't worry about it. I don't know what to do. I mean, I was booing. I was booing as Quindarius Dunnigan is running into the tunnel, asking for more. Like, I no, I don't get it. I don't get it. You're right. I mean, the players show no emotion, except they. I saw. This is just unfairly pointing fingers, but I saw Van Summeren and Grady Kelly. They got lit for a tackle they made when we were down 31-7. There
Yeah,
you go, boys. There you go. Way to make a fucking play down 24. Now you want to celebrate. I agree. UCLA's sideline has so much energy all game. They're jumping around, they're dancing, they're vibing, they're having fun. On the opening kick, Michigan State, I mean, it's so lifeless, Zach. It's so lifeless. Like you said, it starts with the head coach. He leads a lifeless program. Apparently, he isn't pushing the panic button yet.
yeah. We can talk about that too if you
I
want to.
mean, that's the worst quote I've ever heard after a game like that. You've lost 3 games in a row, buddy, and you've beat 3 very bad football teams. You just got emasculated. You're not pushing the panic button.
And one thing
Really?
I've noticed in this game is you just looked at the huddles. I understand Jonathan Smith is a guy that lets his kind of coordinators, let his other coaches kind of talk to the players. He kind of sits off to the sideline. That's just something he's always done. That's something he did at Oregon State. But just looking at the huddles, especially on media timeouts or just timeouts in general, you see UCLA, everyone's in the huddle together, like one main huddle, everyone's surrounded by the coaches. You see MSU, it's like 3 or 4 different huddles. Like, what is going on? Like, is this just the way it works? Like, it's one of those things that I feel like you and I are showing more emotion here
Oh
than
my
I
God.
saw anything today against UCLA. And this is a UCLA team that, yes, is coming off of a big win against Penn State. Yes, they have Tim Skipper as their head coach, a very motivational kind of guy. Could that Penn State game completely turn around their season? Absolutely. But when you have a home game and you have a guy in Jalen Berger that was at your program a few years ago that could not run the ball whatsoever, and then he does that against you in the woodshed, like there has to be an awakening point for this Michigan State team. And there has to be an understanding of what is going to happen going forward. We can talk about Jonathan Smith all we want. We can talk about Aiden Childs. I don't think Aiden Childs is completely healthy. We can talk about Nick Marsh. You can really say in this game, there was like 2 players that showed emotion towards the end of this game. Nick Marsh, which absolutely rightfully, if he's frustrated, he absolutely deserves to be at this point. And then Alessio Milivojevic, I think he showed a little bit of emotion, a little bit of maxing. Now, I don't think we need to have the conversation of like Aiden Childs, Alessio, who is going to be starting. If Aiden's healthy enough, he should absolutely be starting. But like, it's 2 straight games of Aiden Childs playing incredibly poor. It truly starts after that Nebraska hit. Again, I mentioned I don't think he's a completely healthy whatsoever. If he's not healthy, you're not going to win games with him. I'm sorry. Like we've seen this year, he's had to carry this team on its back when he's healthy, and you barely won games against a Boston College team. If he's not 100% healthy, he's not going to win against any decent opponent that you play. I'm sorry.
No, I'm with you. I'm totally with you. If whatever percent he was at today, because I agree, there's no way he's at 100. Whatever percent he was at today, he does not need to be the signal caller next week if that's the same percent he's at, because did not have it. Did not have it after the hit at Nebraska. Probably concussed. Did not have it today. Probably still concussed. Probably got concussed again, which is
Probably.
why he left the game. I No, he didn't have it. He didn't. I mean, some of those balls weren't even close. Uh,
He had a wide open wheel. I believe
my God, how did he
it
miss
was either
that?
in the
Were
first
you
or
at the game? You
second.
said you were at the game.
Yeah.
Did you see a replay of that? Because, like I said, I have not watched back one play. I don't want to. How did he miss that?
I don't know. All you have to do is legitimately put it right on Amari Kelly. It was Amari Kelly. It's a touchdown if you put it right on him.
Yeah, it was a touchdown. I don't even know. We thought Childs gave us so much hope through the first 4, and I'm not saying he's cooked or whatever. Like, I think there's still a lot of good football in him, and like you're saying, he's not 100%, but it is probably fair to say we Spartan fans drank the Kool-Aid probably a bit too soon. He's not quite as good as we thought. Um,
And you also saw the fans show up today. Like it was
uh,
a packed Spartan Stadium on homecoming. Like maybe it wasn't like right away, but it was a
no,
pretty packed homecoming. You had the fans behind you, and even Jonathan Smith said that like we want to have a program where you have fans behind you, and it goes both sides, right? He even specifically said it goes both sides. You have fans that want to buy into what you want to do. And at this point, like you mentioned earlier, there's completely understandable if you don't buy in at this point. Now, let's see what this coaching staff, what this team does, because when you lose 3 straight games, and you have a game against Indiana that Kurt Signetti will happily put up 60 points on you if he truly wants to. Like, it's truly going to be about buy in or shut up at this point. And if you want to keep your job at this point, you need to win games you're not going to be expected to win in the future. And you're going to have perfect game plans. You're going to have perfect execution. And speaking of execution, we haven't even talked about this at this point, but that 4th and 1 on, I think it was like the 34, 35-yard line. I understand the check that they went to. Like, Jonathan Smith said, hey, this was the game plan. I think Matt Goldman even said that they didn't necessarily love the look. Like, if you don't love the look, don't go for it. Please, like, call a timeout or something like that. I don't know. But, like, we've seen MSU run this toss play several times, and
My
it's
God, it didn't
never
work.
worked once. Like,
No.
okay, maybe once last week against Nebraska, but,
On the
like,
4th
one
down, by the
time.
way.
Yeah, on 4th down, like,
So
it hasn't
they
worked. I don't know.
probably thought maybe there was a chance of it coming. That's crazy concept that you put it on tape and you did it again.
Yeah.
Oh, they were probably really caught off guard by the toss play. That sucks. No one can block it. I thought Frazier should have cut it up or stuck his foot in the ground and given himself a better chance, but it wasn't his fault. There was no light. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. I'm looking at some of these quotes, and dude, this just nonchalant gimmick is it's so annoying. I'm sorry, it's so annoying.
When
Wait,
you're winning,
so
it
they
works,
checked it. It
right?
was a sneak, and they checked to the sweep.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
And he- when
But it
asked
shouldn't
about the
even be
hit
a
on Aiden Childs about targeting, I did not see a clean replay. Like, okay, I would have no problem with that quote, except for that's everything he embodies. It's just like it's kind of like helpless to me. It's like, well, I don't I didn't see a replay. I'm not gonna get mad. I'm not gonna give a fire under my players. I'm not gonna ask for the official for targeting. Like, I
And
don't
here's the thing, this nonchalant thing works when you're winning, when you have a big win. And Jonathan Smith does not have that at this point. Now, if he goes into Indiana, somehow beats Indiana, or he beats Michigan, we can have a completely different conversation at this point. You finally have that win. But we can also talk a little bit about this whole targeting thing. I truly don't know what targeting is anymore. Like, there were several times that I should have been probably targeting against UCLA. Wasn't called. It's not going to change anything that happened in this game. But yeah, no, you look at defense. Defense struggled. They couldn't get any sapped. You finally did get sapped from a missed field goal, and then you don't go
do
score.
anything.
It's one of those things that, like, when you need to do something, this defense just hasn't been able to do it. And it was just continuing what happened last week. Special teams were a little bit better this week, but not really because you had a missed extra point. Like, there needs to be changes at this point, in my opinion. I'm not saying that Jonathan Smith should be fired right now, but there needs to be changes, or you're going to get completely ran through by Indiana, and then you have Michigan coming in. If you lose to Michigan in this style, every goodwill that Jonathan Smith still has at this point, which is probably very little, completely gone at that point. Then we can have the conversation about trying to raise $140 million to get a new head coach to buy out Jonathan Smith and NIL. But just unacceptable, honestly. If you're a Michigan State fan, completely understandable if you're upset, frustrated, sad, all that. Like, I felt last week we were pretty, like you said, pretty level headed. I feel like this week we're showing a little bit more of frustration than sadness. And I feel like it's going to kind of end on just like, it is what it is. This is what MSU has been the last 4 years. And it's not okay as a Michigan State fan.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Today was pretty depressing. It kind of just I don't know really how to describe it. This is such a pessimistic take. I feel like it's gonna be a long time before Michigan State football is competing for a Big Ten title or for national relevance. Like, ooh, we're 0-3 in the Big Ten. We're, like you said, $140 million, $31 million buyout. We're basically in debt. Like, we're basically at this point operating in debt because I do not think Jonathan Smith will get this program to compete for Big Ten titles. And I get the reason you can't just say, "Oh, screw it, 31 million, get out the door." Yeah, like you brought up, I think you were probably alluding to Sheehan's tweet that okay, now you got to get triple that money to bring in a new staff, and now we aren't even talking about players at that point in the modern era. I don't know. I was
It's one of
walking
those
out of
things you hope he turns around.
yeah.
And what is turning around even is at this point.
I mean, I don't have faith. It feels like it's a dead program. It just feels dead. You have you have a couple decent players. And the saddest part is if about 1 week ago to this exact moment you could have put together a couple more drives with in the final 17 minutes of that game, it would I mean, I'm sitting here thinking, "Oh, Jonathan Smith can definitely get us to contend for a Big Ten championship." But it's just too many shortcomings at this point through 17 games of his or 18 now of his tenure. And yeah, I think there's got to be some passion or something to ignite a turnaround. And when it's just not there time and time and time again, I don't know.
It,
I don't got
it
much. I,
might
I
be
guess I'm.
it might be one of those things where like a Jordan Hall or like a Sam Edwards or even like an Aiden Childs at this point. Like there might just need to be a full on players meeting of just like this is not what MSU is. This is not what MSU was under D'Antonio. I know we can talk about the history of MSU before D'Antonio. I know we can talk about like the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2000 like early 2010s. Like this is just not what MSU has been known for in our lives. It's just not. Like MSU has lost what made them good. And that is a defense that plays hard. That's a defense that hits. That's a defense that you can rely on. And that's an offense that is good enough to win you games. And at this point, there's just nothing. There's none
No.
of that at this
And
point.
and and I agree with everything you said. It, another aspect that made MSU good in our lifetimes was I think the coaches had our players knowing what they were supposed to do. It, how many times, if you were there with me today, how many times did you see our defense, secondary especially, talking through shifting, running to some assignment late, 3 seconds before the snap? Like on 50% of the plays, they don't know what they're doing until the ball is snapped. I do not understand.
If you
And
want to
I
talk in
agree.
a specific example, that fake punt that UCLA
Yeah,
had, it
David
wasn't ready.
Santiago knew it. He had it. I think he had it. He realized it. He was trying to get guys lined up. No, wide open, 30-yard run. I mean,
There
and
was one missed tackle. It would have been a conversion anyways,
yeah, and
but
it was
like,
Amarian Smith, and
yeah.
I feel for him because he's dealing with a lot more than me and you are dealing with, and he's trying to go play football against the best collegiate football players in the country. So it's hard to harp on him too much, but he did not play a good football game today. And you said hitting. We used to be good off hitting. We don't hit anymore. Like you said, we're scared. We're not even trying to wrap up. And it's not like we're delivering a big shoulder blow. It's a little like shoulder blow. I'm kind of gonna try to chop him. I'm kind of gonna go high enough to knock him out. Like it's this in between bullshit that is not how you tackle in football. And
I was just gonna say, how many times did you see
I don't know, man.
UCLA continue get a push after
I know.
2 or 3 yards?
I know.
Someone lay a shoulder
I
down
know.
and hit someone.
And
Well,
finish the hit.
Jordan
Drive
Hall
him
had
into
a
the
few
ground.
moments where he did, but
I don't know,
I,
man.
I want some popping of pads. I want to know what happens in practice. Obviously injuries. I hate the idea of saying injuries affected this game. I don't think injuries affected this game. I just want to know what's going on. This injury report is absolutely absurd. Is it just these guys just in practice don't want to hit hard so then they don't get injured, but then when they get in the game, they just don't do it? I don't really know what's going on.
I don't know either,
It's
dude.
it's something that is absurd. I'm really kind of looking forward to hearing Matt Sheehan's episode because I'm sure it'll probably be a legendary episode. But yeah, no, it's just frustrating, man. There's no other way of putting it. It's just not okay, and it's one of those things that MSU either needs to fix it or we need a new head coach. And I did not think we would be saying that in this game, even though in the preview, I did say that this is a must win. I said that for more of a bowl game, at this point. Like, that's how important this was. Can you still technically get to a bowl game? Yeah, okay,
You could go 9-3,
fine, whatever.
Zach.
Whatever you want. Is there a chance? Yeah. Is there a reason to completely panic because it's 6 games in? You got 6 more games to go. You could win out. Absolutely. But
9-3, we're
I
incoming.
think at this point
You're telling me you don't believe in that?
I think at this point you're crazy unless you see anything other than what we have been seeing. And 18
Tenure.
games into his tenure, you haven't seen it yet. Go out next week, maybe completely turn it around, maybe make it somewhat interesting. We can have a conversation at that point. If you don't play motivated against Michigan, if we're having the same conversation after Michigan, just fire him at this point. I will openly say that. I will openly be calling for Jonathan Smith's firing if he loses to Michigan and it's not even close. I'm just done at that point,
And
and
hey,
I'm
did you
real
know
close to
that
being that.
this year though he knows we're rivals with Michigan? Last year he didn't know that.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that was an
so
interesting comment.
so that'll probably help. We'll probably win because he knows we're rivals now. Um
Yeah,
dude, we're in poverty now, huh? Tigers came crashing down.
yeah,
Reality
just
struck with MSU football for the 4th straight year. Lions got no one left to play past defense.
yeah. But
Red
we
Wings lost
we
5-1 in the opener. MSU hockey lost their opener as the number 2 team in the country. Give me the Pistons, give me the state basketball, and give me a couple more healthy Lions because I can't do this anymore. I waste too much of my life watching sports.
hey, but you know what? We still are here, still talk about. We'll still preview. At least I will still preview the Indiana game. We'll see if Liam
No,
makes
I'll
it to
do it.
that one. But any last thoughts on this game? I feel like we've kind of hashed out a lot of our frustration, but it's almost to the level of we start at frustration, and I feel like we're kind of ending on acceptance at this point, unless something
Yeah, it
dramatically
is.
changes.
It's just pure acceptance. It's just this is what we are now, right now. And I hate that, but this is what we are and have been, honestly, since 2016. You can say seven. I don't think you can say 17. You kind of just had everything kind of came together for that one year. So since 2016, you've been 3-9, 10-3, 7-6, 7-6, whatever, blah blah blah. You go 2-5 in COVID. You go 11-2 in 21 on be literally because of one player. You turn around and you go what 4-8, 5-7, 4-8. And now, yeah, I mean, you could be looking at 3-9. Realistically, 3-9 is on the table.
you're not going to be favored in any of these next couple of games, so you don't have to pull off
No.
upsets at this
I think the
point.
only one you got a chance is in Ford Field against Maryland, but you're probably not even favored.
Maybe Iowa just because of how bad Iowa is
No,
offensively,
we
but
would not
not
be
at
favored
Kinnick
at
though.
Kinnick. No,
I
no.
meant more of like you have a
Oh, okay,
chance
okay,
than
okay.
favored, but yeah.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I want to say you've got a chance against Michigan because I feel like Malik Spencer, Darius Snow, Alex Van Sumeren, like if those dudes aren't, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. We should just end this. This sucks. I mean, it's
I do want to say, and I'm going to end it on a positive note. I felt like we've been so negative, and I feel like rightfully deserved the negative the whole time. There is still a chance you get this done. It's just going to be so much has to happen. You cannot lose that locker room. If you lose that locker room, it's over, and it's difficult to do that in a 3-game slide. You still have opportunities to win games. You're going to need to do something you haven't done at MSU, but you still have Michigan. You still have Iowa. You still have Minnesota. You still have Maryland. There's chances out there. It's a slim chance. At this point, fans don't want to hear it. They just want to see it. And if you end up winning 3 of those 4 games, then yeah, we can have a conversation. At this point, it would be a disappointing year. But as of right now, it's just hard to see. There is a chance, but this team needs to prove it at this point. That's the most positive I can be at this point. Is you have chances. You have an opportunity to get this correct. It's just you don't see that right now, and it's hard to see it. And it's one of those things that you're truly just hoping at the end. You just see that small light at the end of the tunnel, and you're really hoping that either that small light at the end of the tunnel is this thing crashes and burns and you have a new head coach next year, or you find a way to go to a bowl game. And I feel like if this team ends up going 4-8 or 5 wins, at that point, you're just in purgatory. So I think at this point, if you're an MSU fan, probably the most positive outcome for it is you either hope things crash and burn and you don't win a single game and Jonathan Smith is fired, or you find a way to be a team like Michigan, you find a way to get to 6 wins. And if at that point, if you see a little bit more buy-in, you can kind of see a possibility of fans to buy back into what Jonathan Smith is going to do, but it's going to have to take something like that to get to that point. And as of right now, basically all the chips are off the table. As of right now, you might have one chip on the table, might have one belief left. If you lose these next couple of games and you get blown out, especially against Michigan, good luck at this point.
yeah.
That's my most positive outlook at this point, which isn't
Yeah, no,
even
I
that
mean, they can find
positive.
a way. They still got half the season left. You can find a way to turn it around. Now, where's my confidence they do that? Um, I don't quite know how far you have to dig to get to Earth's core, but it's somewhere down there. So,
Hey,
and I
maybe.
really don't think it's unfair. I just don't. It's unfair to the players. I like the players. I mean,
Yeah, there's
shit,
good
dude.
players on this team. There's players that want to win here,
Yeah,
like Jordan Hall, Sam Edwards,
I
even
just
Nick
feel bad for the
Marsh.
guys that stay. Yeah, Nick Marsh. Like, why did he stay? What the fuck? He should leave. Like, I'm not.
But please don't make Nick Marsh leave. That there goes all my happiness at that point. There goes all MSU's happiness.
Nick Marsh, if you're listening to this, don't leave. Nick
Don't
Marsh,
leave,
if you're
please
not
stay.
listening to this, uh, do yourself a favor and get out of here because you're not, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't, it's just, I feel bad for those guys that stick around and come out of halftime and half the stadium is already left. Like, I, I respect the guys that want to stay and want to win at Michigan State. And I feel horrible when this is what they get rewarded with. Like,
And you have a fan base that wants to win.
yeah. And then they're getting
That's the
booed. And
case.
it's like, we're not booing the player. I'm not booing the players. I'm booing everybody with the headset on when I'm standing up today booing. That's just the
Yeah.
truth. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, like you said, they got half the season left. You never know. You never know what can happen. but
Hey,
I've got no faith in it.
beat Michigan. You might have some fans back in your good grace at that
Oh
point.
yeah, you beat Michigan, especially if they're still only a one-loss team. If they find a way to win tonight, oh yeah,
And it's
you'll.
sad that we're getting to a point of like, hey, if we beat Michigan,
I
like
know. We
everything's
cannot let Michigan
okay.
fans hear this. I know, I know. We just probably gotta just cut this. This has been.
Yeah. I felt like we could probably go for another 40 plus minutes, but yeah,
Yeah, it's just
no,
rehashing the same stuff for sure.
yeah, but yeah, no, there's really not a ton to really like go over much anymore. We can talk about Nico, we can talk about the running game, we can talk about offense. I feel like we've kind of just addressed everything without just specifically talking stats because when you have this type of performance at home in homecoming, stats aren't going to mean anything. It's pointless at this
Nope.
point, and it's pointless to continue to have hope if you're Live fans at this point, and it's understandable if you do. It's understandable if you have a little bit of hope. We'll see what MSU does next week. We'll obviously preview the Indiana game. Maybe we won't be as negative, or maybe we won't be as chipper as we have been in previews in the past. But yeah, there'll be more episodes coming out. This won't be the last MSU episode overall. Might not be the last passionate episode we've ever had, but there'll be more. There'll be more frustration. Hopefully, there'll be days where we actually smile. If we get a win against Indiana, maybe we'll be smiling a little bit more than this one. But
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see. But thanks for joining, Liam.
Yeah. Thanks. The instant reaction worked out, so that was kind of fun.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But yeah, no, MSU, like I said, gets absolutely embarrassed on homecoming. We'll talk about Indiana next week. We'll preview that. And then going forward, continuing to talk about this MSU good, bad, indifferent, ups, downs, crashing, burning, whatever happens with this MSU team, whatever happens with Jonathan Smith, we'll talk about it. If Jonathan Smith is the head coach, we'll talk about it. If Jonathan Smith gets fired, we'll do an instant reaction at that point, and we'll talk about that as well. So any MSU news we'll be talking about. But yeah, thanks for everyone for tuning in. Hopefully you somewhat enjoyed our episode of just completely ranting. I'm sure probably a lot of people that listen to this probably agree with a lot of what we said. But yeah, no, thank you for tuning in. If you enjoy the content, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, thanks again for joining, Liam. A lot of fun. So we will be back with you next week.